It happened. It's official. Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. He's the first president to win 2 non-consecutive terms since Grover Cleveland in the 1890s. Yeah, it's been that long. Anyway, but that's not necessarily what this video is about. It's not about him and Grover Cleveland and comparing the two. No, it's about what's going to happen now, because there's a lot of fear among women when it comes to abortion, reproductive rights, and all sorts of stuff. And before I get into all that, let me just admit, I was wrong. I had Kamala winning this election. I had Kamala Harris winning this election on the ticket with Tim Walz. I thought their campaign was maybe not impeccable. I mean, no one can really run like a truly awesome campaign. I mean, maybe in the past there might have been 1 or 2 people who have done that. Anyway, it wasn't their campaign. I think it was relatively solid. It's obviously still early on in the fallout as to why Trump won, but I think the reasons are, the main one being this was an anti-incumbency election. People saw Joe Biden, they saw Kamala Harris as an extension of Joe Biden, and I understand that because she's the sitting vice president under his administration, and people are fed up with still paying high prices for groceries. They're still fed up with barely being able to afford rent or like their mortgage, housing, all that kind of stuff. So it was mainly economically driven. And then you also have what's going on at the southern border, and I'm not going to get into this, but there is a lot of misinformation going on there. Yes, there is a crisis there, but the way it's being framed, I think, is incorrect. It's just oversimplified, as a lot of these things are. But what do we do now, right? I mean, and my biggest question is, will Trump be as bad as people say he will be? And the answer to that is the jury's out. We just won't know until he takes office. And even then we won't know. It'll take at least a couple of months, I think, to whether or not we truly realize how bad he's going to be with abortion, with rolling back all these regulations, with taking a hatchet to the separation of church and state, and just basically gutting the regulatory state. But I'll be honest, I was limiting myself to like just a left-wing echo chamber when it came to looking at polls, and people were saying, don't trust the polls, when they say they're neck to neck, they're not really, just look at their crowd sizes. Trump's is like tiny and just minuscule, people leave halfway through, whereas Kamala's are like massive and people do waves, and there's a lot of enthusiasm in the atmosphere. But the truth of the matter is, none of it matters, right? What's done is done. There are no do-overs in democracy. Trump won. He is the legitimate winner. And I guess if I had to say anything now is, well, first of all, when he won, or I guess I should say the night he won, I slept maybe 1 hour because I was obsessively checking the electoral map in real time. And the second I saw Pennsylvania, I thought, oh, yikes, it's happening again. Now, here's the thing about his first presidency. It honestly, and I think people are going to disagree with me on the left, which is, it wasn't like worst case scenario, right? One thing that happened during his presidency that did affect me personally was I lost my health insurance coverage in like October of 2017. So this would have been like 7 months into his presidency, because he gutted Obamacare. I was on like, to be fair, I was on like a very watered down insurance network, or just health insurance plan, because I wasn't really employed at the time. I was still going to school, but like I was on medication. And I find, okay, my card, my insurance covers the cost of it, but eventually, a month later, I realize they tell me, oh, yeah, this insurance is null and void, and you basically have to pay out of pocket. Now, thank goodness for GoodRx, because they do give you a massive discount. And I asked him, do you think this has to do with Trump gutting Obamacare? And the pharmacy technician said, yeah, it's very likely that this has a lot to do with the federal level and them like doing that. So, and obviously there was him assassinating Qasem Soleimani, a top Iranian general fighting ISIS, increasing drone strikes for over 400%, just occupying a third of Syria to take their oil, and all these things, right? But here's what really gets under my skin. When people say the economy was better under Trump, therefore he's better on the economy. Here's the problem with that statement. Here's the problem with that claim. Economies take a long time to turn around, and Trump inherited Obama's economy. And Obama inherited, in turn, the Great Recession, the subprime mortgage crisis, you know, the most severe economic downturn, I think, in our lifetime, probably since about 1982. Some would say the Great Depression, but Obama's entire administration was basically getting us out of the deep, deep hole we were in, as most of the world was also in. And it took basically his entire presidency to fully recover, to fully see to it that the average household income was back to its level that it was pre-recession. And that's why people say, the economy was good under Trump. Yeah, because that was Obama's economy. So it's like, stop making the connection as to be like, oh, Trump is president when the economy is good, therefore he's the one who made the economy great. No, that's not the case. And I'm willing to flip it. If a Democrat fucks up the economy, if they mess it up, hey, I'm gonna call it out, because I'm not a partisan hack. And this may or may not negate what I said, but hear me out. In this day and age, and this has really been the case, I think, really for about 40 years now, since Reagan, and that's voting Republican and you make 5 figures, you are, by definition, voting against your own interest. Because typically under a Republican tax plan, your taxes actually go up. Now, if you're in the top 1%, if you're making a crap ton of money, if you're filthy stinking rich, then I understand that your vote is for Republican, because they're not going to tax you a whole lot. But most of the country voting for that kind of tax policy, not to mention the tariffs he wants and the mass deportations, please realize that this is actually going to cripple the economy and has a very good chance of doing so. Because with tariffs, first of all, a tariff is a tax on imported goods. I've known that since I was 12. And typically, the people who pay for the tariff are the ones importing the good. It's not the ones exporting, it's the ones importing. So if, a washing machine or some kind of consumer good like that comes from China, or like furniture, and it's being imported from another country, the people paying the tariff are the ones who import the good, i.e. US companies, right? And oftentimes what these companies will do is they will pass the tariff on to the consumer, which will then be converted into paying a higher price at, whatever store it is. And when you wonder, wait, why is the price so high? What's going on here? Those are the tariffs, my friend. Those are the tariffs you supported by voting for Trump. And mass deportations. Now, we have evidence for this. In Alabama, they did basically what Trump wants to do on a nationwide scale, which is to crack down on mass illegal immigration. Now, the thing with that is, our agricultural sector, our construction sector, manufacturing, a lot of that would actually hurt because of that, because the people doing those jobs are undocumented. And I guarantee you, not many Americans are going to be willing to do that backbreaking work. And as a result, you're going to see the price of many things go up. Now, This would cause, I believe, according to economic experts, a 6 to 8, perhaps even 9% drop in GDP. Holy shnikes. That would not be good. And it would not be just, it wouldn't be good for us. It would also be horrendous for the world, right? Because economies are interconnected. And the fear that I have about all this is, in his first administration, not everyone was totally on board with the stuff he wanted to do. Obviously, Mike Pence was not for overturning the election because, in his words, I swore an oath and I'm not going to break that oath. I'm not going to commit a crime here. And it wasn't just him. There were people saying, whoa, 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 Trump, you can't do that. You can't like deploy the US military on the streets to deal with the George Floyd protest, right? And there's more examples of that. Those are just a few. This time around, he's going to surround himself with yes men like, yes, master. Yes, we shall do that. Right? And with the Republicans controlling the presidency, well, they're about to, they're on track to controlling the House. They already control the Senate. The Supreme Court, completely controlled by Republicans. This makes it so that there's going to be little to no pushback with the stuff he wants to do. And you may not see this as a disaster if you voted for him, but trust me, you will. And again, if I'm wrong about this, if maybe the Trump presidency won't be as bad as people say it is, then I'll be the first to tell you, hey, I was wrong. You know, I was not correct about that assumption. But just know, I mean, this is, again, you may think everything's going to be all hunky-dory now, but when you give it some time, you're going to realize, wow, what the hell did I just vote for? Why did I vote for this guy? I was duped. And something I also should have brought up about Kamala Harris's loss is Trump went on the podcast scene, which is a great strategy to appeal to younger voters, right? Because I can't think of any boomers who watch podcasts. I'm sure they're out there, but they're fewer and far between. They're fewer and far between. He went on Joe Rogan. He went on Theo Von. He went on Andrew Schultz. I think those were the three. Oh, and Aiden Ross for all of you alphas who watch him. So yeah, that's going to turn a lot of young people onto you, right? And Kamala Harris did not do that. And the Electoral College kind of proved that, yeah, that was actually kind of a good strategy on Trump's part. Now, one policy I will agree with Trump on is ending double taxation. Now, what double taxation is, say you're an American and you move to a country like, I don't know, Greece or Romania. The way it works now is you pay Romanian taxes. So like, let's use Romania as an example. You pay Romanian taxes and then you also pay US taxes. Which is dumb, right? Like, why would you pay US taxes if you don't live there, if you don't make money there? Makes no sense, right? Trump wants to end that. That is one policy that I will agree with him on. But everything else, maybe there's like one or two other ones that I've yet to find out. Those are good. That's a good policy, but you know, I know he keeps saying, oh, he's not going to do an abortion ban, don't worry. Yeah, he might not want to do that, but who's to say J.D. Vance is not going to disagree with his plan there, right? Because he kind of prides himself on being Mr. Family Values, you know, oh yeah. And, well, how are you going to be Mr. Family Values when you totally skip the vote to extend the child tax credit? Don't tell me your family values if you know, just not even vote, but just not even show up to the vote. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? Anyway, if I had any final message here, it would be, it's only 4 years. Things, I think, will get better. I think there will be some pushback from Republicans who are just, they're going to see this guy as insane. They're going to see him as just absolutely out of his mind. And why is he doing these things? So I think there's going to be something like that within the party. I don't know what politician is going to stand up to him, but I predict there will be at least a few of them that will. And as for How bad things are going to get, again, as I keep saying, I cannot definitively answer that question other than to say the jury's out. We just won't know until he enters office in January. So with that being said, we have 2 more months. We got Thanksgiving, we got, well, at least in the US, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, we got New Year's, we got these holidays. You know, Santa Claus is going to be coming around with his sled and all his reindeer dropping presents and gingerbread, Christmas caroling. We got all that. So let's enjoy the last 2 months we have before things really start to hit the fan with the Trump presidency. And for fellow leftists, for fellow people who just, you know, even Republicans who didn't vote for Trump or who didn't support him, hang in there. Hang in. I know it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but we can weather this storm. We can weather this hurricane that's about to hit us head on, everyone. So just hang through, just pull through. I'd say it's only I know 4 years is a long time, but just do whatever you can to maintain your sanity. Do whatever you can, you know, smoke some weed if it's legal in your state. Maybe do some meditation, do some yoga, anything that relaxes you. Because I firmly believe that after Trump, the pendulum will swing in the other direction. Because that keeps happening in every country, not just this one. That's just how politics go. If there's a lot of mass discontent with a right-wing politician, swings to the left. Discontent with a left-wing politician, swing to the right. And the cycle continues. But things will get better. I think his approval rating is going to plummet. I think there's going to be a lot of mass discontent with the things he's doing. And again, if you voted for Trump, you may not see it now, but there is a good chance that you will. So hang in there. Things will get better. We'll still be here. And let's hope for a better future.